Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is Tina with To the Inner Wild. How you doing today? I hope well. Today I'm recalibrating. I'm observing. I'm focusing on the inner work of learning, not just of self, but relative um, to others. This is a different kind of hermit energy that I have. It's not quite hanged man, like, because I don't feel like that Eight of Swords energy that's kind of like hidden and embodied in a sliver of that. It's not like a public shame kind of um, energy where it's quite open and obvious. I mean, obviously it is right here because I'm telling you, but it's more like, contemplative, almost like I'm seeking information. It's almost like Hierophant energy. Yeah. That was my card reading from like a couple days ago. Hierophant energy, and I'm actually feeling it right now because it's union with the divine. Oh, here's one. I did a cleanse. Oh, Nine of Swords. So I haven't even gotten to the part of confessing, right? I'm not going to take this as the focus card, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it as like it comes through because it wanted to like come out, right? So obviously it's a topic on the table that Spirit wants us to talk about, right? So Nine of Swords. It came out upright. I see a bunch of purple and indigos. That's all stuck in the head. It's despair. Oh my gosh. Like, even angels aren't immune to this pain. Do you see this? Like, Swords of Truth. You see the blue handles? Or what do you call them? Hilts? Handle? Oh gosh. Anyway, the part where you put your hand on. I'm sorry, I'm not sure of the terminology because it doesn't sound like it should be a handle. A handle to a sword. Anyway, it's a blue. It's light blue, which embodies truth. But do you see where they're positioned? They're like in her back, right? So that's like, it almost reminds me of like angel wings, right? So, when I felt like even though she doesn't have wings, that's where her wings should be if she were an angel. So right away I thought of like, even angels aren't immune to it, right? This kind of pain, like sensing it, feeling it. And there's another energy to this in that because they're depicted almost like the wings of her, that that kind of pain and insight of truth that is just not, a lot of truths are unpleasant to hear. In fact, when you hear the whole truth, it is very painful, right? That's why we live in a world of half-truths, right? Just to get us by, right? And when I look at this, it's almost like it's elevating her, giving her a sense of heightened wisdom through that pain, right? And there's a flow from the top, right? From the divine. And it's almost like a stream of energy that envelops her, that is trying to comfort her, trying to surround her, to let her know that she's not alone. You see how murky it is in the background? It's It's foggy, it's dark. Can't see clearly. Also, another thing that I'm seeing here is that underneath her, I think she embodies the whole spirit of this, right? The reversal energy as well as the upright. So there's that duality part of her, the man of action, right? Because feminine energies are of receptivity, of nurturing, of caring for, right? Loving, right? And then the male aspect is of action, of yeah, it's an active energy, whereas female is passive energy, and that's just the way the universe speaks of it, right? The in in spiritual terms, right? And that's why we call like the Holy Spirit or God a He. But when it comes to the divine, they embody both. So um, it's just our way of understanding how to refer to energies beyond us without having to overuse names, right? It's just slang terms. He, she, in reference. So I'm seeing that there's a sadness in here and a lack of like some immobility, right? Because Eight of Swords is like your sense, like a sense of feeling trapped, right? But you're really not. But Nine is like, yeah, you're effing trapped, right? Just look at it, right? Almost like she's trying to birth this type of action, but she can't. Oh my gosh, I got this like really morbid vision of like a miscarriage, right? The inability to produce, to be fertile, yeah, to birth action. So she really is stuck in pain. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so what's Seven of Swords? Seven of Swords is deceit. It's, yeah, it's shifty behavior, right? It's deceit. So when you think of that, the 7 is here and then the 2 are back there. So I feel like there's a 7 of Swords energy as well in here, that there's a sense of defeat and deceit at the same time. Oh my gosh, I think this is the card of the day to energy wise, just because there's so much to say on it. Wow, okay. So she's wanting to act on something, but she's immobile. She's trapped. She's truly trapped. Almost like cornered, right? You see? Cornered by others. From deceit. Wow. Yeah. And then like how it's like almost like a miscarriage there. Almost like a hanged man energy here as well because it's upside down. And yeah. Okay. I feel like 9 is about completion, universality, right? But the bottom is King of Swords in reverse. King of Swords. I feel like I need to pull another card out though, besides this. But let's go ahead and put them side by side because this is a lot of thought and air energy here. King of Swords. Okay, so his back is turned. No. It's front. Let me just picture this. No, it's front. But the sword is covering his visage, his face. And he's drawing it in front of him, so it's like a reflective energy. Like, you can't see me. I'm all about combat. I'm just reading this intuitively, okay? Let's see on this side. Yeah, you can't see me. I'm all about combat. Both hands are on the sword, top and bottom. So that's what I bring forth. That's all that you can see. And there's something about this that I need to read. I know I do. King of Swords. That's so weird. Like I'm concerned. So upright is, he is intellectually keen and clear. His piercing gaze shows a depth of knowledge and understanding that cuts through all who stand before him. He is firm in his direction as well as wise in his movements. Yes, that is right. He's a well-respected man, right? So King of Swords, in reverse, he is blinded by his own brilliance. He abuses his power as he wields the sword for his own gain. He cuts down those before him in his path and manipulates others. It's 12:12. Yeah, I see that, right? So you're not even gonna be able to look in my eyes. You're not gonna see the truth that lies behind them. All that you're gonna get is my sword and my power. And that's why she's so upset. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get some answers here, okay? We always try to find the divine in all. We always try to find compassion. And I think the first step is seeking the divine in others so that one thing leads to another. When you see the divine in others, you are able to find compassion. And once you find compassion, you can find forgiveness. And after forgiveness, you're able to let go and you're able to move on. Okay? So the reverse King of Swords represents an individual who abuses his or her knowledge for personal gain. This person is malicious and manipulates others easily by preying on their insecurities and trust. In social situations, this person will cause a stir for fun, play the devil's advocate to be challenging, and often find him or herself in arguments for the sake of displaying his or her mental capacity. Yeah, it's a display of power to see if they just can, right? Pushing boundaries. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You have no idea how personal this is. But I know that this is not something that is just embedded into my life, but this is energies across the board. There's this deception like out in the macrocosm. This is not just my personal issue, individual experience. This is, and I feel like I'm meant to, no, I know I'm supposed to understand these energies and able to put that on the forefront, to put it on a platter for others to like dissect and understand, to help them dissect these energies and overcome rather than succumb to its nature, right? So I'm seeing a lot of this in play with the the twin flame soulmate energy stuff. Just a lot of power plays, right? Confusion, and it causes so much stagnancy. And I didn't know about any of these energies until like I got into this whole spiritual realm. But I think it's like one of those 101 type of classes that you encounter along the way. Just like it starts you off with common knowledge with those energies. Maybe not so like basic as a 101 class, but like the next level, you know not just encountering them, but actually understanding the psychology behind them, and being able to stand back rather than just immerse yourself in that kind of energy and those concepts. But after immersing yourself and understanding like the dynamic of it, but to actually step back and observe it from a different standpoint, an objective standpoint, and you step out of that energy, right? Greater understanding of its mechanics and dynamics, right? So the King of Swords, okay. The reverse of this card advises not signing any contracts or agreeing to anything to avoid being manipulated. And that also goes for energies, depending on how elevated you are in understanding energies and engaging in them. Just know, like, your actual imprint, your energetic imprint on others. You know, like, you get that first impression, lasting impression, that essence of impression that you leave on others or that others leave on you. That is a certain vibration that you have actually ingested, basically. You have allowed within your auric field. You've actually understood, right? There's a certain resonance. So when you think of that energy in that context of like a molecule, right? How do you say this? So because you have that power of the imprint as well as others do, when you when it says something about signing contracts or agreements or whatnot, you don't actually have to go through the physical motion of 3D behaviors in order to comply with something. You just need to like actually think it, to will it to, and you don't have to will it with all your power is the thing, right? If you understand that you have the ability to just say something, to project this imprint that you have, even if it's just like a small agreement, like, yeah, hypothetically, if he said this or she said this, then I would go, yeah, I would do that, right? That carries a magnifying vibration to the point of to the point of emitting out this energy into a certain timeline. I don't, that's probably not the best way to describe it, but it's a magnified effect, like this vibration that speaks, like, that materializes on a timeline, right? Because time is not linear, right? So it happens just as much as when you agree to something. So just be very mindful of how you project your energy, even if that's internally through inner dialogue, right? Through what you think is so private in like you may agree to something in your head, like sometimes you have these hypothetical situations, right? Well, that can breathe out into existence because it's a reality within, right? It all starts within, so that's the core, right? So I just wanted you to be mindful of it, not to be so hard lined, to actually read between the lines in context of what that truly means on a cosmic plane. Advice from others in relation to investments or property should not be heeded, as it could be questionable origin. In relationships, this card warns of getting involved with a person who seems to only stimulate your mind. Empty will be this person's promises, as he or she fails to deliver the promised pleasures of the flesh or the joys of the heart. That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know, if I like, would you? I don't even know how to come up with a scenario, even though that I've encountered so many scenarios. But just remember, on a basic level, when you're talking to someone or entertaining another energy, let's just say another being, female, male, whatever, right? If something is proposed to you, don't be so quick to, like, even come up with an answer in your head. You know, come up with that, just like, have that internal like trigger to just be like, discernment, right? Like, I just want to go ahead and I'll just sleep on it, okay, right? To be able to take a step back to understand that kind of energy from like a heightened perspective, right? Not just like an objective mode, right? But a higher state, right? Images and symbolism. Similar to the queen, the king is a winged creature. I thought I saw wings. You see? Similar to the queen, the king is a winged creature upon a heavenly throne. The wings represent a higher level of consciousness which he has reached. The king wields his sword. This is speaking of upright symbolism, okay? The symbol for thought and intelligence. With a firm grip, uses it as both a shield as well as a weapon. See, I see it as a shield right here, a mask. The sword covering the reversed king's face indicates he not only hides behind the weapon, but also abuses it in ways of deception. Okay, so let me tell you something here, okay? Because I'm also feeling this too. Okay, the Nine of Swords, right? The mental anguish, despair, feeling trapped and cornered and just really saddened, right? The bottom of the deck was King of Swords. So that would be the 10th sword in someone's back, right? This is not a good pairing, obviously, right? I saw 23. Maybe that means something for someone. I'm going to look them up later, but yeah. Pool of blood, being stabbed in the back 10 times. He now knows of no defeat so extreme or as definite. Yeah. This is betrayal, disloyalty, malice, distrust with yeah, like kicking a man when he's down, right? Or a woman, right? But do you see that? How that one extra sword causes more despair, right? Through deception. Okay, Spirit, I feel like there's one more card that we need to pull out. Spirit, I guess that was it. Seven of Swords in reverse. So, Seven of Swords is usually a deceit and like someone like kind of like sneaking off. Yeah. That's also like a sense of betrayal, right? When it's upright, but when it's in reverse, he is crafty with his words and clever with his lies. He hides under a mask of sincerity. Why isn't this getting better? I think someone needs to hear this. Someone really needs to like embed this. Like somebody out there must have so much compassion, so much love, so much hopes for mankind. Like I don't want to call it being naive. I want to call it someone who has a big heart, and it's hard to understand humanity in that aspect of like a cutthroat society, or on a personal basis, even a one-to-one basis. He represents all things superficial and false. Do you see that? His one eyebrow tilted, like ha ha ha. So the Seven of Swords is just really not great energy at all. From what I'm seeing. Do you see that? How smug he is? Like, he's proud of his ish, right? Look at that. I'm showcasing these 3 swords. 2 are blocking me, 1 from behind. I am protected, right? And then on the other side of him, he's just like, I'm sneaking away with these other 4, right? I've got them in my pocket, in the sack, right? It's... He's walking away like they're his coin, right? So in reverse. The reverse of this card warns us to be skeptical as well as aware. Yes, to use discernment. So maybe it's not such a bad energy because it's supposed to flag us, like red flag us, like to use discernment, right? Those who may be close to us will attempt to dazzle us with superficiality and lies. Question their true intentions constantly, in your own mind or aloud. You lie in danger of being manipulated based on trust and underhanded deceit. You will be surrounded by those who address themselves well to represent who they are not. Yes. It's an obvious mask. Fast or smooth talkers will be in abundance. For their confidence, a mask hides their true intentions. You may be enticed into money-making schemes or investment traps. In relationships, you may have met someone who has sold you on the idea of romance, but will never deliver it. It's just a carrot and stick. Okay, so in reverse, okay, on the reverse, man is covered or flanked by swords. This represents the shallow use of thought or ideas to project the wrong image or concept. This can go for energies of who you thought you knew, who you thought you could trust. It could be mentors, this could be, lovers, or old friends, or, people who have credibility through others that you met, right? False hierophants, right? Or tainted hierophants because of all these negative energies, right? His hands are in mock prayer as he bows forward with his superficial smile. He aims to please, but only for his own gain. Okay, well, look at the bottom of the deck now. Queen of Wands. Oh my gosh. In reverse. Do you see that? I just did a reading right before this where the Queen of Wands was upright. I already shuffled, guys and girls. But do you see how this kind of energy can transform someone to becoming someone that they're really not at the core? These carry transformative energies as you let them in inch by inch and excusing their misdeeds. And basically you think you're emitting, projecting this love and compassion, but really what it is doing is enabling them to carry out this action, these misdeeds, one step further. You're expanding their boundaries to only discover that you had none, right? Or weak ones anyway. But you see the Seven of Swords, the bottom of the deck is the Queen of Wands. She's scandalous, she's promiscuous, she is not one to be trusted. She's just as deceitful. Do you see what a pair they make? And, in understanding energy is how one likes to bring down the other. Not just as a challenge, like as a conquest, like, hey, intellectually, can I do that? Can I like mess with someone? It's just for pure entertainment because they don't realize that they're better than that they have better, like a higher potential to using their powers and their will, their energy, their source. So they do this, and it's always kind of like this demented win-win train of thought where it's a conquest, whereas if they can mess with someone, like if they can get away with that, and also pushing trying to learn their boundaries with others, not just the individual, because this is an addictive type of behavior, right? It doesn't just stop at one. And it's almost like an abuser, like sexual abuser, like a sexual predator. It doesn't just happen once. But okay, so then the other side is also, because it becomes like a challenge, they turn this person into the reversal, right? So in contrast, they're not any better. They brought down this person. That was a person of integrity, right? Of purity. Like, no, anything can be brought down. I just proved my case, right? I rest my case, and I able to bring someone down and prove the point that there's like no such thing as loyalty and honor, and there's and not just that, but also raising himself up because he was able to bring someone else down. Okay, so those are the energies. This is a forewarning, a warning that just beware. sometimes readings are like that, you know? You don't like to hear the whole truth, but yet it's coming for you anyway, so you might as well kind of take this into account for your own sake as well as that of the collective whole. Because the more this energy breathes and takes place like as a stone dropped into this lake, it creates a profound ripple effect. And with how many stones are thrown into it, it's creating these massive ripples, right? So with each individual instance that happens, you know, like this is my experience, that's your experience, and it's all mirroring the same thing, and it's creating this like almost like this flux of energy that almost can create waves, like tidal waves, and you know it's not something that you really want to be part of, even as an individual. So why would you want to do that to, you know, that could also speak to generations to come, to your daughter, to your granddaughter, to your, you know, grandchildren. You know, think about the energy in that aspect, and how, you know, sometimes we know that we have carried on these patterns of behavior that have been so unhealthy, carried down from our ancestors. You know, a lot of what we're doing now, and our guardians also are consisted of our ancestors. Um, that energy that's supposed to rectify the qualms, the conflicts, the lessons that haven't been learned, the patterns that we need to break. So, you know, that's something to consider. For more guidance, of course, I would highly recommend that you build a strong bond with your guardians, and that can consist of many divine beings of love and light. I have a feeling that it's always going to be at least one ancestor in that pact. I don't know. I mean, I feel that's the way energy works. If you did not learn it in this lifetime, your redemption factor is to guide others, your lineage, into a better plane of existence so that they do not repeat those mistakes. It's a matter of balancing out the energies for the sake of sustainability and thriving and learning, and sharing that energy to, yeah, to grow together. All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. I'm not sure what time it is right now. I'd like to know the times and all that. But I think someone did not want me to, some energy did not want me to convey this to a public plane. But I'm protected by spirit. These messages are protected by spirit. I know I have a strong bond with spirit and my ancestors, my guardians, angels. I know they want this to come through. So let's just thank them for letting it reach you, to bring you to a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of being, to progress your ascension on your life path, your individual life path. And, you know, let's take it day by day. And so have a good night, and or have a good morning whenever you get this. And I'll see you on the next one. If this resonated, please hit the like button, subscribe, comment if you have anything, any stories to share. I know this is very personal, but I appreciate the sense of community. So, and the idea of like a support system. So anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.